Welcome, people of the World Wide Web. I'm Cypher Sigwa, and this is a slightly different. This is a series review of the Netflix Disney series Echo, the Disney series Echo. See what I did there? So yeah, so I've just finished this. I've binge watched this in under half a day. It's only 5 episodes. I think the first episode is about almost an hour long, and then it gets down to about 35 minutes on average. So I'm going to do this a bit different. I'm not doing this like a movie review. Spoiler warning, we'll go straight up. We're just going to go straight into it. So anybody who doesn't know, this is the premise of a Marvel character called Echo. Now, I don't know too much about the fictional comic character, so please be aware that I know a few bits and I will reference that. But yeah, she was brought into the Disney series Hawkeye when we met Kate Bishop. And she was kind of a hired goon or hired thug or supporting character for the Kingpin. That series ended, and if you've not seen it, please turn away now because I ruin it. Obviously, she assumedly shoots Kingpin. He's standing next to her. You hear the gun shoot, and he drops to the floor. This movie or this series was released all in one go. It had this trailer that kind of foreshadowed showed that we would go back to the past, and we do in places. So you have Echo kind of on the run. She's injured. She goes back to her hometown where she hasn't really been since a kid, and it's all her kind of learning about her heritage. They start off very much with this kind of supernatural, olden style Native American woman who's inside this cave and this swirl and stuff like this. And the start of it, I'm already like, what has this any reference to Echo in the first place? As far as I'm aware, she doesn't have any supernatural powers, but anyway, it's supposed to be part of their heritage, and they've tried to incorporate into the series. Whether it works or not, I will leave up to you. I will give my opinions at the end of this. But anyway, so we got flashback to this, and then it's her, and then we get to see a little bit of her and a kid, and how she has a cousin that she likes as a sister. Her mum's in an accident, dies, she loses a leg, and then obviously kind of runs away. And this is when she obviously then meets up with the Kingpin. Kingpin takes her under a wing, and then we kind of have the premise, or we kind of have the whole show, Hawkeye and stuff, and then we go back to it. We do flick a little bit back and forth, but it's mainly set, I think, 6 months, or I think it's 6 months afterwards, after Hawkeye, from the sounds of it. So yeah, she goes back to her hometown, keeps away from her grandma because her grandma didn't really want anything to do with her after her daughter died. She sees a few people out there, but basically she wants to get back at the Kingpin, who she believes is dead. I'm not giving any spoilers away because you know he's in this series anyway. I know, and he was shot by her, so how is he alive? I will get to that part. So as we go on, we kind of learn she wants to get back at him. She has one of her cousins or one of her relatives get her some stuff, and then she gets on one of the Fisk train to plant a bomb. When the delivery gets back to, I think, New York from wherever they are in America, it blows up the whole warehouse and stuff, which causes attention that something's going on, and obviously will lead Fisk's attention, or Fisk's company attention, to her or somebody like her or her town, because that's where the shipment come from. Obviously, you go through several times, some gangsters turn up because obviously they're obviously looking for Echo, and that people are out there to get her, and people do come across her. You have her cousin kind of comes back to it. She's basically a plot device to be captured most of the way throughout this movie. That's how a lot of her friends are basically there in twofold. One, to kind of help her out to get stuff, or or they help a little bit in the end, or two, they're used to catch her to basically hold her at ransom. As we move on, Kingpin comes back into the picture and explains that he still doesn't hate her for what she did. He has a patch over his eye. When he takes it off, he kind of has a bloodshot eye, and I'm not quite sure how he gets shot in the eye and have a scar here but still be alive, whether it grazed his eye and that's what it did, or you don't really get an explanation of exactly what went into, as far as I was aware. She then has this doubt, should I trust him or should I not trust him? And he shares a lot of her life. He wants her to come back, and he says, like, you want power, that's why you've blown up the train, stuff, I can give you it. She doesn't want that. He obviously then goes ape shit, pardon my French, kidnaps her grandmother and her cousin, and then it all comes down to this big fight, or kind of fight scene at the end. when magically, as you see at the very beginning, this foreshadowing as she's going along of this series, this power that her family and blood have that leak because she's an ancestor, she's a descendant of this main ancestor who was this woman who saved him, who has this magic curly power, these curls turn in her hand, and she basically can take on images and stuff of previous lives and stuff. Now this is obviously again a plot device that they've used to kind of mirror what her powers are. So her powers are very much like Taskmaster. So if you've seen the Black Widow movie, you'll know that he can look at something or she, in the fictional world it's a he, but in the DCU it was a she. They can look at people, Captain America, Bullseye, Thor, anybody like that, and then her body can then mimic what she sees, and that's kind of what her power is. Now they've obviously used this different power in a different way, and she shares it with her cousin and her grandma at the end, and then kind of heals the Kingpin, or does something to him on his eye and on his chest to revert kind of any of the hatred, or try to revert any of the hatred he had. This ends with Kingpin on a train or a plane, and then you kind of see that they're looking for a mayor of New York City, and as you know the comics, he becomes mayor, so that's obviously where they're pushing it towards the Daredevil series. Daredevil does show up, he shows up in the first movie, it's a flashback, it's only like a 2-minute scene, it's literally, I'm not quite sure, he was there to fight these bad guys, he fights and knocks out 2 of them, he fights Echo. He could kind of finish her off and then he just magically disappears like Batman for no explained reason. Really did not, it literally is like someone's taken the idea of, we put him in She-Hulk, those episodes probably got better ratings, so if we say he's in this, it's going to get better ratings for this. Again, it's another plot device for me. So that is kind of just a story in there. To me, this is very much almost a mirror image of Secret Invasion. You have a focal character, and I'm going to say, even though the series is called Echo, you have basically the Kingpin. He started off potentially dead or hurt. If you go back probably a minute or 2 before that happened at the end of Hawkeye, literally he's injured, he's angry, he wants to kind of get more power. He ends this series with then going for the mayor. It's almost like this series didn't happen, but then you have a character exactly like they did with the Super Skrull, Emilia Clarke, she gets powered exactly. Echo's now got more power, and she's a newer character, kind of becoming good, and she's got kind of a superpower now. Literally, I don't even know why they did this series. So I'm not going to give this a rating because it is all over the shop. I mean, to be honest, I like the Hawkeye series. I really thought it was nice for Marvel to include a deaf character that they tried to incorporate more. Obviously, she is an amputee as well, and I think that is good that they are trying to be more inclusive of it. Whether they just hide her because there is that, or she just was a better actress, I don't know. I mean, she does come across in the Hawkeye as a good actress. This, it seems to be like you have this very minor character, but because she is in this certain demographic of, like deaf, and we want to play on this, we want to work on this, let's bring it, well, she hasn't got any powers, but we want to give her powers, so let's give this heritage thing come in, which kind of is a mimic of what her kind of, I don't know if she's a mutant or anything like that. To be honest, I don't know why they just didn't do that she has some sort of memory. She fought Hawkeye and Kate Bishop and stuff like this, and really how I would have played the series of she leaves Kingpin in the wind. We don't really see Kingpin, we don't need to see Kingpin. It was all done off screen, so there's a lot of, you could all tie that in to the beginning of the Daredevil series of how he actually recovers from his injury and then goes on this massive rage because he was betrayed, and that's something for Daredevil to stop. But this character is kind of, she could have gone on her own, she could have visited her home, I think, in like half an episode, then gone on and decided, I need to stay in the wind because I'm going to paint a target on my family and stuff like this. So I don't need to do this and stuff like this. She can meet a few people, she can have this kind of lazy bum person that's kind of like, I think, Biscuits, who is a cousin or something. He can facilitate the stuff she gets, and so she builds a friend in that. She can have like a tech person who's kind of working with her, and as this, she's then like, right, I need to work on myself. or she tries to do like little stuff to maybe steal stuff from Fisk and that, you know, hurt like a business here or there. And as she's going across, it can be like one of them can have like a cut off metal pole, and as she does it, she then starts using it like Daredevil did when he fought her, and she could be like, well, hang on a second, how do I know to do this? You can have her like watching TV at some point. You can have a flashback to one of the Avengers or another Marvel movie and something like that, and then she can go along and do like a flip or a twirl or something like that, and go, well, have I known that? And realizing that she has this ability, and it kind of almost not necessarily being a Rocky type thing, but you then build the series up to her training and realizing she has these abilities and builds this contact, and then it's her deciding how she wants to go. You've then built this character up. But for me, the series didn't really need to be done. It's a character that wasn't well known, and to be honest, I'm not. From when she started the series to when she ended the series, I'm indifferent of her. I'm just like, meh. The fact they've given her some sort of superpowers is like, really, is that what we need? Is that what she needed? Some of the fight scenes are a little off. Some are quite good, but still they're not as spectacular. As I say, they're very short, exactly like the Daredevil. It's only a very short movie, a short film, whereas I think more in the Hawkeye series you actually see, you know, kind of UFC and stuff like that, and I would have liked to have seen more aspects of that. But yeah, overall I don't really rate this. This isn't. I will pick it up because it's Marvel if they do release it. I'm not going to spend a massive amount of money. I will spend the minimum because I think this is very, very poor. It's a poor character that seems to have, in my eyes, poor writing, poor development, and they've just thrown this other stuff into, you know, we'll throw a heritage in because that'll appeal to a few other stuff. We'll throw some superpowers in because then that puts them more better, you know, grand scheme of things. As I say, it does not. This whole thing is just a plot device to kind of re-heal the Kingpin, and then it creates a kind of superpowered being as well, which isn't as a massive one, I say, and literally no need for the series in my eyes. But anyway, that has been my series review of Echo. Have you seen the Disney series Echo? What are your views? What are your thoughts? Otherwise, I've been Cypher Sigma Screen Time, and I shall see you in the next one.